Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Tell me who you are. And
My name is Sabiah Khan and I'm from Rochdale.
Nice of you to join me today,
Thank you,
Sabiah.
Shabana.
Tell me about your childhood, Sabiah.
Right, so I was born in Kampala, Ginger, in a hospital called Mengo Hospital. I was 2 years old when we came to the UK. Prior to that, I can't remember much, but I have stories like my cousins, like they were there, my dad, my mum.
Did your mum and dad, when they speak about Uganda, can you remember anything that they used to tell you?
Well, the thing with me was when I was born, I was like the first baby girl, and my mum would say that everybody would come and take me. So she'd dress me up in my pink dress, and I'd have pink cheeks, and then there was this one guy called Uncle Afzal, and he was a hippie. So my Jaja was in the hippie, they used to have the hippies in that era. And so they were into their Beatles, yeah. So he'd have long hair and he'd be like a proper mod type, yeah. And this uncle would come and take me and we'd go to get sweets. He'd take me to the park, and other people in the family as well. They'd just come and say, "Oh, where's Sabiah? We want to take her out." So those are the things that they should tell me. My granddad, my dad's dad, he was he loved me a lot. So when he'd finish work, my mum would tell me that she'd get me ready and I'd run through the courtyard, they had to the gate, and wait for him to come. So he'd finish work and he'd just pick me up and then take me into the house and then sit and eat when I was with him. What else? What else do I remember? My cousins had a good life. So my mum has 7 sisters.
Mashallah.
So 7 sisters, 2 passed away, now 3's passed away. And the others, so there's 4 that are in Canada. And my mum's here, and my mum was in Birmingham. But my appa, the eldest in Sweden, she would have had loads of stories. They all loved it. They loved being there. The weather, the freedom, the food. Our food is classic, isn't it? So.
What can you tell me about your mum and dad?
My mum and dad are extraordinary people. My mum is absolutely brilliant. She was into her, Indian films.
Yeah.
So she'd dress up like them, make saris, and they'd go and watch the pictures. My dad, he was swimming, football wasn't there, but mostly swimming, hockey, track, running.
Wow.
So he was really sporty. My brother is actually the spit of my dad.
Okay. And
I am the spit of my mum, spitting image of my mum. But they had a good childhood there.
Do they often talk about it?
They do. My mum talks about it. Oh, we did this and I worked here, and when they see Uganda on TV.
Yeah. So
then it'll take them back. There was quite a lot of Ugandan Asians there. Mittal Steel. Have you heard of Mittal Steel?
I have, yes.
Well, he's one of the main steel merchants in the UK, and he's from Kampala.
Okay.
Yeah. So there are quite a few, there's a lot of people that came out of there that are very successful now.
Can you recall why, or have your parents ever mentioned to you, why did they come to Rochdale and not go to Canada?
Yes, this is a question that we've asked them thousands of times. When the Asians got kicked out in 72, we had a British passport, my dad had a British passport. My other cousins went to Canada, my appa went to Sweden, so everybody got split. When we came to England, we stayed in a camp I don't know where it was, I think Kent somewhere. Then my mum was in Birmingham and my mum's sister was in Rochdale. So my mum's sister got in touch with us and said, look, come to Rochdale, come and settle here. So we did. And I wish we'd settled in Canada.
Well, I'm really glad that you've settled in Rochdale.
Oh, I'd love to have settled in Canada, oh my God. But do you know what? I've met some amazing people. I've made some absolutely brilliant friends. You know, you have your ups and downs, but I wouldn't change it.
Good.
I really wouldn't.
Can we go?
I've known you for years.
You have indeed.
Since you was a toddler, I think.
Old is gold. Can you tell me about your childhood now? What was
Right, so
which
I was
primary school?
2 when I came here. So then the childhood starts from UK, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
So I went to, I started off at Queensway Primary School. And I was a bit of a naughty child. I was a bit of a naughty child. Then from primary school, we went to...
At primary school, was it mix or was
No.
there predominantly more?
So because I am Ashfield Valley.
Okay.
Have you heard of the valley?
Yes.
So I'm one of the residents of the valley. So most of the kids went to Queensway. And there wasn't many Asians. So in my school, infant school, there was only me and my brother. There's probably 4 of us. I don't remember seeing any other Asians in infant school. All my friends were white. And they're still my friends to this day, you know. One of them I can remember very well, Deborah Halliwell, gypsy. A proper gypsy, but I loved her to bits. Absolute diamond.
Did
Yeah.
any of them ever speak about differences?
Racism.
Yeah.
To be honest, I've never had it. Allah shukri, I've never had. Me and my brother have not had racism in school. Like they never used to say anything to us. You know, I don't know. I just never had. Yeah, so we didn't have. I didn't experience racism. So from infant school, so you've got where Sandbrook Park is now. That was Ashfield Valley. Then where the Sandbrook Park School is, that's where Queensway, the primary school and the infant school, like they have the nursery, isn't it? So we went from nursery to infant school. I remember a bit of it, but not that much. And then from there we went to primary school. Again, I just remember like I was a naughty child.
What did you
I really
used to
was
do?
a naughty child. And then from there, I went to Queensway. That was a good school. Again, not many Asians. So there's me, my brother, my cousin. I'd probably say in the entire school, there's probably 10 of us.
Did you ever feel different?
Yeah.
Did it affect you in any way?
No, it didn't. Because like, I don't want to say, you know, but with Kenyans, they are a bit modern. So my mum and dad never restricted me to wear certain clothes, isn't it? So we'd probably dress like the Gori did. So I think that's when the other, you know, like when Apane saw that, they'd think that, oh, like she's like a Gori. But it's just that we were from different, you know, like the way that we are, it was just different.
So the Apanes at the school, did you get on with them or did they ever question you?
In Queensway, I don't remember seeing, I'd probably say there was 2 or 3 Pakistani.
Okay.
There wasn't that many. So in Queensway, me, 1, 2, 3, there was probably about 5, 6 of us.
Handful of you.
Yeah, and the rest were all Gori.
Was your friend was friends with these good people?
Yeah, because they were family friends.
Okay.
So Seema Ansari, my cousin Ijaz was there. My brother, who's slightly younger, he was there. Asim Ansari was in the year, a couple of years above us. Selena went there, Zahid went there. Nabila Awan, don't know if you've ever heard, but she was there. Lovely girl. But that's it. And the rest probably predominantly white.
What happened after high school?
High school, so we're looking at Thornham now, innit? Middle school, Balderstone. So up until Thornham, I didn't have upper friends. All my friends were Gurry. And then in middle school, like the last 2 years, I started to mix with the upper girls. And even then they would say that I'm slightly different because I'd wear short skirts and they'd say Nangyalata, but my mum and dad never said anything. They didn't say anything. Again, I think as student-wise, I was okay academically. I was fine. It was good. Thornham was a good school. Then we went to Balderstone. And again, in Thornham, there was Pakistani kids and there was Ugandans, yeah? But again, more Gurry. Kirkholt is predominantly white. Then you get to Balderstone. So Balderstone is my last school. And there's more Asians. There's a lot more Apne. So now I'm integrating more with Pakistani now. So I'm beginning to know how they are, which is fine. So one of my closest friends at that time, she was Pakistani. And we got on fine. But again, there was a difference. Dressing was different, talking was different. Sometimes the atta was different, do you know what I mean?
Was you ever allowed to visit her home and notice any difference?
Right, yeah, there always is.
What could you share about being at Balderstone School?
Say that again.
What could you share at being at Balderstone School?
Balderstone. When we first started at Balderstone, so I was in the 3rd year. So my Asian friends from Thornham came to Balderstone. There was one particular girl that I've stayed friends with her since the age of 13, but sadly passed away a couple of years ago. Balderstone was a really good school, but again, I would mix with the elder kids, like before you talk about racism, I've never experienced. I've not had maybe a couple of times, but very minor, And I think if they ever did, then I would retaliate. I've always, my dad's always brought us up to be strong, don't take any crap off anybody. I had one incident when I was a kid. That's the only thing I remember. So back in Queensway, there was an English girl who used to pick on me. So I was probably about 7 or 6. And she would push me to the back of the line and wouldn't let me go and get my dinner. And I thought, why has Selena not been born? Selena's a tough one, isn't it? But this girl would bully me all the time through dinner, Okay. And I thought, oh my God, and she was much bigger than I was. But luckily my cousin was there, so my cousin would intervene. And that's the only time that I remember that I was bullied. And I vowed from that day, I would not get bullied again. And alhamdulillah, I haven't.
What was the teachers like?
Balderstone, God, you're taking me back years now. You're taking me back nearly 40 years. Okay. Balderstone was it was a really good school. The teachers were brilliant.
Which was your favourite subject?
So my favourite subject was PE. I used to love PE. I hated maths. Yeah. I used to love art. I hated physics. I loved chemistry. And I actually passed my chemistry. And I loved geography. History as well. So most of the subjects I did like. The teachers were really good. French, I didn't like. Drama, I didn't like. But not much I can remember.
Do you remember the school trips?
I didn't go on that many, like abroad and stuff. When they would do excursions, so we'd go close. Like you could go to Brighton Beach, go to Blackpool for the day. So yeah.
After school, what happened?
So after school, we'd go to masjid. So we went to Nili Mosque. Started off at Nili Mosque when I was in Thornham. And then from Nili Mosque came to Idara.
What time?
I had experienced racism in the masjid. Because I was Kenyan, I always felt that they didn't teach me properly because they thought, oh yeah, we don't want to learn. And I would fall behind on that. And this happened Nili Mosque and Idara. I do remember, shall I say it? Right, so I had one teacher, I can't remember her name, but they used to have the bungalow. So we used to go and read in the bungalow, and I had an argument with the teacher's daughter.
How old was you at the time?
So I would say I was about 11, 12. And I did hit her. So she went and told her mother. And her mother, oh my goodness, told me to do that gun pucker in it, you know, when you have to go down. So I was sent outside and I was asked to do that. And I said something, but I didn't say it to her mother. I'm not going to say it on camera, but I said it to the girl. So she said to her mother that I said it to her. That night, I remember my dad really hurt, like my dad, like...
Punished you.
Punished me, right? For like something that, you know, it wasn't even my fault. But I did feel, being in masjid, I wasn't taught because a couple of the teachers had said to me that because you're from there, you're not going to learn. This was told to me when I was little, you know. So through masjid, I thought it was like a playground, you know. So we'd have fun in mosque. Instead of reading, I'd have fun in mosque, you know. And I think it was with all of us. So, you know, me, Seema, Shazia, Saima, we all went to Nili Mosque and Adara. But we were all at the same, like we didn't finish everything in masjid, you know. Like Urdu and the Quran, I'd actually finished it after I'd left mosque. And I think that I've learned more outside masjid than I ever did in mosque. Because I always felt that they didn't teach because we were Kenyan. All those teachers are not, you know, legend and secret, they're not there today. So that was my first, and can you believe it was in a masjid and not at school?
Wow. After school, did you go on to college?
No. I went to college for about a year. Yeah, I remember now. So I did computers. And then I left and then I started working. I started working for my cousin. He had a packing place, so I started working there. So from the age of 18, I've just worked. And then I stopped when I was probably, 48, 49.
What can you tell me about your memories of Eid growing up?
Oh, they were fantastic.
How were the different,
you know,
compared
like your
to
family, because there's no family now. You know, like the elders were alive then. So my family would be in Deeplish and Castleton. So we'd all go to my big auntie's house on Deeplish Road. And they were all there, all my cousins and all the kids were there. And it was like, you'd have good fun, not like today. You know, like, I feel like kids don't know what Eid is now. Eid to them is hire a car and go to Windsor Road. Yeah, and get in trouble with the police. And that's not Eid. You know, Eid is to be with your family, give money to the kids, you know, have dinner together. But it's all different now because the elders have gone. And all my cousins have grown and they're married and they're away now. So now Eid now is just your basic day. Not like it was 20 years ago. How was your Eid, Shabana?
It was interesting. It was a very interesting Eid. Thank you very much.
How was your New Year's as well?
Oh, quiet due to COVID. Very, very quiet. Yes. Let's talk about you driving. Can you remember taking driving lessons?
So I started driving when I was 16. I took lessons for a year. And back then, and people are shocked when I say it, I used to pay £5 for a lesson. Literally £5. My lesson would last 45 minutes and it'd be done, yeah? Back then there wasn't that many cars on the road. I passed first time, and my test was 15 minutes.
Wow.
15 minutes as opposed to today it's like an hour. And then your written test is separate now. So back then I had 10 minutes of driving, yeah, and I'd have 5 minutes of questions. Mrs. Khan, you've passed. And I was like, whoopee-doo, yes.
So you've been driving for quite some
So I've been
time.
driving since I was 17.
How would you compare the driving from then to now?
Because now there's a lot more cars on the road, and there's a lot more kids on the road that don't need to be on the road. You know, they're just driving about like hooligans now. The roads are not like they used to be. You have more accidents now, back then very rare. You know, and I think that they should, I shouldn't say this, but they need to fail quite a few people, you know, because there's too many kids on the road now.
What can you tell me about food? What kind of dishes?
Cool. Kenyan
did
food
you
is the
have?
best, but Asian food is good as well. I love Gujarati food. I don't know if you've ever had Gujarati food, but I love Gujarati food. I love my mum's mogo, cassava. I love my mum's kasori. What else is there? Oh, what's it called now? Matoke. Oh my God, I love my mum's matoke, which I've now mastered. So all the dishes that she knows, she's handed it down to me and Selena now. Also cooking wise, there's a difference between my cooking and Pakistani cooking. But I actually do like when my friends cook, my Pakistani friends cook, I do like their food because it's nice and spicy, where I see that Kenyans don't put too much spice, you know. But I do like their dishes. My favourite is keema. Yes. Yeah, that's it. And chicken biryani, I like that.
What do you like to do in your spare time?
Well, because of COVID now, we can't do anything, can we? So I like to make things because I'm really good at sewing, and I make, you know, like you make bespoke items, candles and stuff like that. I like doing that. I like to be artsy. I like the movies. Before COVID, I was going to the movies every month. Now, because of COVID, we can't go. I do like to go out and about shopping, you know, but I'm all right just being at home at the minute, you know. I don't know what else
What's one
to
of the
say.
most memorable things in your life?
Most memorable? When my niece was born, and when my nephew was born. Yes. Them two are the best to me. When my niece was born, I was there. When my nephew was born, I was there. Now, Selena always says, oh yeah, Javeria's like you. Yeah, she probably is, isn't it? So she's going to be really good. But yeah, those are the most memorable. And then the other one was when me and Selena were young. So Selena's my younger sister. So when I was 9, we took a trip, me and her, for the first time to Canada, where the rest of my family are. So we went to my chacha's. My chacha took us on a 4-day drive from Canada to Florida. So we traveled through 24 states via car to Florida. Oh, it was amazing.
Did you stop at different motels?
So we stopped, we'd stop at the motels. So we stopped at Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. We stayed there, and we stayed at the border of Mexico. Then we went into Florida, Miami.
Did you feel any difference with the American people and the English people?
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Right, so Canadians are really, really good. They're not racist, yeah? They'll welcome you so well, you know, like there's Chinese, but they're really good as well. Like the Americans, they're all right as well, but there is racism there. So if they see an Asian person, that's it. you know, but I didn't experience it there. But I do find like the Canadians are really good people.
Compared to
the British. No, the British are good as well. The British are good as well, because my neighbours are English and they're absolutely brilliant. Yeah.
And what about language? Did you ever find any language barriers growing up?
Not really. I mean, I'm still trying to learn Swahili. You know, so the basics I can get. Punjabi took a long time for me to, you know, like master. Because at home, I speak English with my dad, I speak English with my mum. And sometimes we'll speak Punjabi in it. And I always say, Mum, it's okay. She'll say to me, speak Punjabi. And I say, it's all right, I'm trying to make your English better. So she'd be like, all right, okay. But no, I've not had problems with it. But speaking it when I was young was difficult for me to catch, you know, like starting to learn Punjabi. Now I think I'm all right.
I never asked you about your siblings. How many?
So I've got 2 siblings, and do you know what? I would never change my siblings.
Alhamdulillah.
Even if we have our ups and downs, I'll always ask for them. If we ever had a choice, if Allah said choose your family, I'd choose them. I'd choose my family as today, yeah? So my sister, she's a hothead, but she's absolutely brilliant.
Heart of gold.
Oh yes, she is absolutely brilliant. My brother is, oh my God, my brother's a really, really good person. He's got a heart of gold and he's got a temper, but he would never hurt anybody.
No.
You know, like he'd never say no to anybody. Even as kids, like we were growing up, we always played together because Selena, like there's 9 years between me and her.
Okay.
So me and Samir, there's only 2 years. So when we used to live in the flats, I remember that we'd go and play on the canal and we'd go and ride. We'd have a boat, so we'd go on the boat. I remember we played knock-a-door run around the flats.
Yeah.
You know, and we're like 6 and 5, so 6-year-old and 5-year-old running around Ashfield Valley. You know, we'd play hide and seek. We'd go up to the powerhouse and climb on the powerhouse. Then my dad would come and get us. Oh my God, we used to get into some mischief. But me and my brother were very close when we were young.
What would you say is so different now compared to life then, childhood-wise?
Because I think now, you know, back then when we were kids, I mean, me and my brother could go and play out by ourselves.
Yeah.
Now I'm 6 and he's 5. And Ashfield Valley was a big place. Mm-hmm. And me and him used to go everywhere and not be scared. Not being scared of being abducted or, you know, how it is now. Nowadays, you've got to watch your kids like a hawk. Mm. You know, you can't trust everybody, you know. My niece and nephew, like I say to Selena, no, they shouldn't be allowed to go by themselves just yet. Mm. You know, society now is not all that like it used to be. It's not safe now. Back then it was very safe, you know. A 6-year-old now, if they went out by themselves, they'd get kidnapped.
It'd be a safe
But then, no. I used to walk around Ashfield Valley on my own, and I was 6 years old.
At what age did you move from Ashfield Valley to your
So I was
house?
9. So from Ashfield Valley to where we are now, I was 9 years old when we moved.
How did that feel moving?
Oh, it was weird, but it was weird coming from the flats, and they were famous flats. You know, like it's on YouTube, Ashfield Valley. But there was a lot of people from the valley that moved out to different parts of Rochdale. We moved on to Queensway, and it's the same, you know, the same neighbours. You know, some of us have been there 40 years, and there wasn't any Asians when we moved in. We were the only Asians. Oh, and then there was Seema's family, Seema and Sari. That was it, just us two, and the rest was, there's a lot of Irish, and they are fantastic. The rest of the neighbours, they're really good as well.
Have you ever managed to go back to Uganda?
Oh, this is a question that's come up a few times. My cousins have been back, but I've never been back. And I think I would like to, but I would struggle with the language, you know, and I don't think my dad would go back. But I'd like to go back and see where I was born, you know, where my family was, you know, because it is a beautiful country. But there's just no chance now. So it doesn't really bother me now whether I go back or I don't.
What would you like the listeners to remember you by from listening to this interview?
What would I... That we all Kenyans are not bad. We're all good people. I'm a good person. My family's good people. Everybody's good people. Just like each other. Don't hurt people, you know. And just be happy.
Sabiah, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Shabana. Even though it was a bit, but it's all right.
Not at all. It was an absolutely wonderful interview.
Thank you.
And I wish you all the very best in the future.
Thank you, Armin.
Thank you.